Jamboard is amazing presentation software. It just has a couple of oddities compared to other Google software, which makes it a little awkward. You can share it as normal, and you can share it to your classroom as a file. It exists in your Google Drive, but when you look at the top left-hand corner, we've got the icon which takes us to the Jamboard home like it does in any other Google app. We've got the option to rename, so when we click on the word, we can name it. Slight difference is it brings it up in a box rather than just a live on the line. But there's no option to star a jam, and there's no option to move or add to file or add to drive. That's because they behave ever so slightly differently. Now, if I click on the Jamboard home icon, or if I click on the Jamboard icon on the shelf, it will take me to Jamboard home, where I can see all of my jams and I have the usual search facilities. So within Jamboard home, I can search where the jams have come from if they belong to me. I can adjust how I see them, and I can even create ways to open jams. I can put them into list mode or everything like that. However, it's not always the greatest way to find them. If I go into my drive, they are there, but they can be a little bit trickier to find because they just drop into the mess in my drive. So if you've not got the most organized one, they can be tricky to find. Now, the best way to do them is to name them something unusual. Then all you have to do is use the search function at the top, and there we go. Darth is there, and it's a Jamboard file. If I click on that, it will open it in another window. So that's one way to get around it. Once I've found my Jamboard file by scrolling down through my drive and going through alphabetically or however I've got it organized, it's there. So once I've got it, I can right click on it, and suddenly all the options that weren't available to me before are suddenly there. So I can share from Drive, I can create a shareable link, I could add it to one of my workspaces if it's a file I'm going to be using regularly. I could add a shortcut to the drive so it would make it appear near the top, or I could put it into a shared area if it was into my drive from a shared area, or I can start to organize it. So I can move it into a folder either in my drive or in shared area. So I can start assigning it to individual resource folders for lessons, or I can give it to a shared area where more people can have access to it. That's why adding a shortcut would come in useful. I can star it, I can change the name of it, I can make copies, or I can even download it. All the options are suddenly there that weren't in Jamboard for some reason. I think this is something that might be changing over time. It's still a relatively new piece of software, so keep an eye on that one. But that is how we can suddenly get our hands on Jamboards, because that was a problem early on that they vanished. So if you wanted to use Jamboard as presentation software and wanting to add it to folders, it is there. You can do it. You just need to find it in your drive. The best way to do them initially is to give them interesting names. Alternatively, you can manage it all from the Jamboard folder. Once you've got jamboard.google.com, or use the button at the bottom, they are all there. You can work your way through them. If someone shared them with you, you can change it to not owned by me, so you're just looking at ones that have been shared with you, or you could get rid of the ones that have been shared. Equally, there is the option with the opening jam if you've been sent a file code, a bit like ProWise or ProConnects. So there are lots of different ways you can use Jamboard, and don't let the files going slightly missing be a problem, because they are there. I haven't had one go missing yet. It's just actually finding it can be a bit tricky at first. So just